NESI the Goddess.
Beautiful ashes.
Pindo made it.
All you need to know that I am a goddess. Be through completely honest with yourself. Women empowering women for good health. Transform your mind and lifestyle. What is your heart's desire? Like, do you feel that fire? Beautiful ashes gives us the healing that our heart needs. The responsibility is not on those who hurt us. For us to set ourselves free from those who may have harmed us. Oh, you need to know that I am a goddess. Call me Phoenix, the way I overcome adversity and emerge stronger. My potential is my power. Rebirth, renewal, you know, it's all the transformation to keep my power flowing, to make me much more stronger. Take care of all our women and heal a generation. It starts right there within you. It starts right in the mirror. Look at yourself and get right. Regret or reward yourself. Regret or reward yourself. Regret or reward yourself. All you need to know that I am a goddess.
Beautiful ashes.
Then we're going to open up with the sister circle. And we're going to speak about topics such as drug addiction and mental health in women. And anybody's input will be great. Anybody's experience will also be great. So with no further ado, we're going to introduce Colleen Brady.
She said I could sit or stand, so I might sit, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. So anyway, like she said, my name is Colleen Brady, and I am in recovery from drugs, alcohol, homelessness, a lot of other things. We were just talking about mental health before, and I always thought that I didn't have any kind of like mental health stuff until the longer I've been sober, and then I realized that like there are some things from my past that still kind of affect me and come into today that is still a work. I'm still a work in progress. Like everything hasn't been linear for me. Like I don't think anything is linear really. Like the longer I'm alive and the longer I stay sober and live life. So she said that she wanted me to kind of talk about like what my life was like before, what happened to me, and then what things are like now, kind of like in AA, which is good for me because that's the program that I do anyway for my recovery. I'm a peer support, so I also believe in like many different paths to recovery, and I don't have like a religion that I practice. I kind of believe in everything. If it works for you, then I think it's amazing, and I hope that whatever you do works for you. And if it doesn't, like there's so many different things out there that work for other people. I hope that you'll like take the time to learn more about different things, and through this journey I've kind of found that I can take what I like and leave the rest. Like I don't have to conform to one specific thing. I can be on my own journey, and I don't have to be on anybody else's journey. And what my life was like. So I grew up in Akron. I grew up on Newton Street on the east side of Akron until I was about 11. And my mom and dad were there, and my dad was in recovery from alcohol. He was an alcoholic, and he had been sober for a while. And life was good, like we went camping and fishing, and we all sat down together for dinner at the dinner table, and like we all had chores, and to this day, I don't like lists, because every Saturday morning before I could, my mom's here too, so I'm sorry, Mom, but it's okay. So I would wake up every Saturday morning, and before I could watch cartoons on TV, there would always be a list of stuff that I had to do before I was allowed to do anything. So, like, I grew up with a lot of morals and values, and we went to like vacation Bible school, and my mom was raised Catholic, so we always did, we prayed before dinner, and we prayed before we went to bed, and like everything was good until I was about 11, and my mom and dad decided that they were gonna get a divorce, and things changed, because like I said, like I grew up with my dad being sober, and we went to AA meetings and stuff like that, and then when they divorced, and I'm sorry, Mom, that is my story.
It's okay. Okay. I know your story, Steve, I was there.
When they divorced, like things kind of changed. My mom started dating somebody that owned a bar, and she wasn't home as much, and my dad wasn't there anymore, and we had a babysitter that would come over, and one night we talked her into buying us some alcohol, and she bought us some Mad Dog 2020, and it was the most horrible drink ever, and I got completely wasted, and I blacked out the first time that I ever drank, and I had consequences, like we got caught, but I didn't start drinking like every day or anything then, but I couldn't wait to do it again, because like it made me feel like, I can't even explain how it made me feel. So anyway, like as I was growing up, like I started running away from home, and nobody could tell me what to do. Like I thought that I knew everything, and I just kept like getting myself deeper and deeper into trouble. And by the time I was 17, I found myself pregnant, and I didn't want to live at home. I ended up moving back in with my dad, and he, in the meantime, had started drinking again, so that was like a really rocky road. He wasn't like an alcoholic where he drank every day, but he would go on binge. He was a binge drinker. Like he would disappear for like a week at a time, or one time he disappeared for like 90 days, and he was in jail in some other county, and we didn't know where he was, and things were just crazy, and so I had this little baby, and I didn't really know what to do with him because I was only 17 at the time, and I pawned him off on my parents a lot, and I wanted to drink and party, and ultimately, like, I ended up losing custody of him, and I started getting into like harder drugs, and I was working at a nursing home, and I hurt my back, and I started doing like painkillers and things like that. So by the time I want to say, I don't even remember what year it was, but like I had already been to detoxes, a lot of different detoxes and stuff by the time I was about 24. Started showing up at like detoxes and treatment centers, and I abandoned my kid for like 5 years with my sister, and I just did a lot of things. Like it was like I kept doing all these things, and like my problems were like piling up and piling up and piling up. And like I said a little bit ago, like I was a runner, like I ran away from everything. So instead of like facing any of that stuff, like I just kept running and getting addiction, and I would get sobered up for a little while, and my counselor asked me the other day, he said, where do you think that you would have been like if you never got involved in the drugs? And I was like, well, I feel like I probably would have been successful in a different area, because like every time I got sober, like I was able to make some pretty good accomplishments. Like I got my cosmetology license and worked in a salon for a while, and like just every time I got sober, I was able to make some accomplishments. But those things for me were like easy to gain, but I could never keep any of them because my thinking, like I thought that I knew everything. So I would get sober and like get an apartment and get a car, and I would drive past the bar and I would think, I wonder what they're doing in there, you know? And like that for me is really dangerous, because I would want to stop in, because I knew that it was like the people that I partied with from high school and the people that I hung out with, and I knew like it talks about it in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, like the bright lights and the attraction of the party life. So, and that was always super attractive to me. Like I felt like I fit in. I've always been funny and charismatic, and but like I was never really good at connecting with people, and the drugs and alcohol like helped me feel connected. You know, so I would stop in the bar, and the first time it would be cool, and I would just stop in to say hi and see how everybody was doing, and like I wouldn't have anything to drink, and I'd be like, no, I'm sober, and look how good I look, and doing that stuff made me feel like I had some kind of connection, which it probably did, and it made like the pain and the guilt and the sadness go away. So the next time I would stop in, somebody would be like, can I buy you a beer or something? And I would be like, yeah, one probably would be okay, you know, and I would have one, and the next thing you know, I'm blacked out doing things in the bathroom with people, and like eventually I ended up being really addicted to heroin and fentanyl. I had built a relationship with my kids again and my family again, and I ended up leaving them again for like another 5 years, 4 or 5 years, I don't remember how long it was, and I'm gonna try not to talk too long. So I ended up being homeless, addicted to needles. I had like bed bug bites all over me, because the only place that I could go stay was at this house that was awful. It was just a drug infested house that had bed bugs and cockroaches, and the toilet didn't work, and it was just an abandoned house basically that everybody stayed at. And if I didn't stay there, like I had this friend that had a shed in the back that he would let me sleep in there sometimes. Or there was a fence up at one of the parks in Kenmore that sometimes I would go down and sleep by the fence. I ended up in a lot of places that I never expected to be, and that I never thought that I would be, because I always hung around with people, and I would say, well, at least I'm not that bad. But the more I hung around them, I ended up being that bad, you know.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. So I would find worse people to be around. And I just kept like changing who I was around, so I felt better about myself, because I wasn't that bad. I was never that bad, and like I believe that I like drew so many lines in the sand for myself, saying I would never be that bad, and then every time I crossed one of those lines, like I got further and further away from myself, to where I got to where I didn't even know who I was anymore. So what happened? So to support my addiction, I did a lot of things. My main thing was boosting at the stores, and I got caught one time, and I had like stuff from like 6 stores on me, and they didn't end up taking me to jail that time, and I never went to court, of course, because I was super strung out, and I didn't even know when the court date was, so, I got away with it that time for about a year, and then, I was at Gabe's up on West Market Street, and I was stealing some stuff, and, I got caught, and the police officer was like, you're going to jail, and I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I already been through this before, because they just gave me a summons the time before, and she was like, oh no, you're going to jail, they have room for you, so. I ended up going to the county jail, and I spent about 90 days there, but while I was, like, thank God for the police, because now they have a lot of training, and they're not as, like with people who are drug addicts, like they aren't as harsh. At least this one wasn't. I don't know about how all of them are, but all of them probably aren't like that, but this one was really nice to me, and she was like, why don't you talk to the judge about your addiction? And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, that'll help me get out of it. Like, that's all I was thinking, was like, how am I gonna get out of this? And so I ended up going to jail for 90 days, and the judge decided to put me in treatment. Well, after about 45 days is when he decided to put me in treatment, and he was going to let me go that day, and I told him, and I don't even know where this came from, because couldn't have been me that said it. I said, if you let me go, I'm never going to make it back here. I'm never going to make it to treatment. I'll never make it there. And so they kept me, and I ended up being there for 90 days altogether. And I went to IBH Treatment Center, and like, I believe that I was ready to change my life at that time. I was 40 years old then, but like, I still couldn't get myself to do the work. Like, I still was blaming everybody else for everything. Like, it wasn't me, it wasn't my fault. If so-and-so would have done this to me, then I wouldn't be here, like, or so-and-so, if my mom or my sister didn't treat me this way, or my dad didn't do the things that he did, or if Children's Services wouldn't have taken my kids away, then I wouldn't be here, you know, and I blamed everybody but me, and I never, like, I wasn't ready to look at the inside stuff, so I went into, like, other groups, and I, like, made jokes and laughed, and I kind of wanted to be there, but kind of didn't, and I ended up finishing the program. I almost left, like, halfway through one time, because I was never really great at playing the tape all the way through, and they used to give you money if you did the laundry, and they had me do the laundry 2 times in a row, and that little $50 hit my account, and I was like, I'm ready to go, and I was about to be gone. I was like, give me my food stamps, I'm out of here. So one of the ladies talked me into staying, and I'm glad I did, because I ran into a friend. Her name's Lisa Barber. She passed away a few years ago, but back in 2004, I had gotten arrested for manufacturing amphetamines, and they put me in CBCF, but I met this woman, and like, we kind of went out, and when we got out of jail, we started partying together and stuff. So I ran into her when I was at IBH, and she had been sober for like 10 years. So I couldn't believe it, and I was like, well, I know this crazy lady can do this, and I can too, you know, because I seen how she was, and I knew that she was a mess. She was just as much of a mess as I was. So she started picking me up and taking me to meetings, and that's where because I have a home group. It's for Alcoholics Anonymous. It's called the Flame Group, and they meet every Sunday morning. So I still go there to this day. But unfortunately, like, I wasn't ready for recovery at that time. Like, I stayed clean for about 6 months, and I ended up going, when I left IBH, I ended up going to Legacy 3, which is where I met Samantha. And I started building a support group, and I had a lot of ladies that would come pick me up for meetings, and I never really was like, I always hung around with a lot of men. So it was really hard for me to like change my perspective on that, because like I always felt like I needed to compete with other women, and that was a lie that I told myself, because it was the women that really saved my butt. And so I had met a lot of women, and while I was staying at Legacy 3, my stepdad passed away, and he had been in my life for like 30-some years at this point. And I went to the funeral, and I thought everybody should be glad to see me. And I ran into the girl that had custody of my son, and she basically cussed me out. And like, there was some people that were glad to see me, but I felt like everybody should be like, oh yay, Colleen, you've been sober for...
When I'm alone, I crave your soul. Hoping you sipping soda with my Yoda. We gon' sip till we get older, making fatties out of paper. Hit a baddie, I don't say we wanna crash on activators. I be doing niggas favors, I don't take no elevators. I get to it like I made. I'm sipping soda with my Yoda. We gon' sip till we get older, making fatties out of paper. Hit a baddie, I don't say we wanna crash on activators. I be doing niggas favors, I don't take no elevators. I get to it like I made. I'm sipping soda with my Yoda. We gon' sip till we get older, making fatties out of paper. Hit a baddie, I don't say we wanna crash on activators. I be doing niggas